stuff, it got the Community Foundation's name out in front of a lot of people. I think that's one thing we should really concentrate on. We have so many potential donors in our counties who don't know about the Community Foundation, and I know that's gonna be a big focus in Kahoma County for me this year.
And I will reiterate what you just said. I think it's so important to recognize the work of our nonprofits, because they don't sometimes, I think, get the recognition we need. People don't realize what good work is going on out there. And many people, you know, want to help, want to support, but they don't really know where to plug in. And so that's helpful to raise the visibility of those nonprofits. Anybody else?
I'll piggyback on that, since I was kind of nudged a little bit. But, I've had conversations with, I guess, kind of, people that I know in a lot of the counties, and one in particular was Tallahatchie County, former Tallahatchie County resident, who still owns a home there, and I have gotten him to pledge to make a donation, and he said that he would do it by the end of the year. So I'll follow up on him and continue to have those conversations. I met with Stacy and Keith to learn more about how the Community Foundation works, so that when I'm having these conversations, I can have, you know, an intelligent manner and not just talking like, hey, give me some money type thing. But, and that was very informative. It was very, very helpful. And again, I was added to the finance committee, and I was able to participate via Blue Jeans in the finance committee meeting last Tuesday, and that was enlightening. So it's a lot of stuff going on. I'm proud to be a member. I'm honored. I'm glad that I'm able to even sit at the table with you guys. It's a lot of really good work, and I can tell that everybody's passionate about it. The fire was lit at the first meeting, and I was talking my husband's ear off all the way back home, like, oh my God, you won't believe what's going on. So, and it's continued. It hasn't died out at all, so.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Sunflower County, Tom and Keith have been working on getting workforce training through the Catalog Foundation with the plumbing, and I think Upchurch Plumbing donated several $1,000s of plumbing supplies, and on the workforce training with the solar farms that are being built. I think they're trying to get 200 people trained. Is that what it is? Through the, and you've had a grant from the Inverness project, and I forget the name of the project, but
Light Source BP.
Light Source BP, but they've donated $145,000 for training, and I met with Stacy and Keith, with a couple of people from Sunflower County, went 2 or 3 days ago, and working on the Main Street project where they've got $150,000 worth of grants, and looking at opening what'd you call it, current giving, new nonprofit foundation in Sunflower County, which would be revitalization of downtown, and, you know, we'll try to get rid of some of the razor wire on the building when you first drive in. It doesn't seem to be as conducive as you'd like it to be.
It's not good on the front door.
No, it's not. It's not. So,
Help
anyway.
drive more traffic to the museum.
Well, they had good meetings, and if persistence will get anything done, Keith is your man on the side.
Oh, I forgot. Tunica County. Oh, so I've been talking to a lot of people. Okay, so Dr. Willis, Billy Willis in Tunica County, and Charles Finley, who I'm not real sure of his actual title in Tunica County, but I've been talking to them about starting, and I probably should have had this conversation with you before now, but they're interested in starting a community foundation through Tunica, Community Foundation of Tunica County. So that was one thing that the conversation that we had in the previous meeting. So that may be something that is at least an idea. It's on the table, and it's starting to move forward. So they're interested in having a meeting and sitting down with Keith and I guess whoever needs to be in that meeting to have that conversation. So that's a huge start.
Then we've had the Kudzu Playhouse received a competitive grant here, so thank you to the grants committee for selecting Kudzu Playhouse as $7,000. It'll go towards summer programs and towards the Children's Stars program that we do. And then we just started a scholarship for the Reese and Joelle Norris Service Through Music Scholarship that Stacy's helped us organize. And we're trying to beat the record for the most number of donors to a single scholarship, and I believe it's 72. And so we're trying to raise enough awareness to beat that number to get that started. So that just was announced 2 weeks ago because we received the grant the other day. So the staff is doing a lot of great things in a lot of different areas, and so it's good to hear about everything else that they're doing. It's not just our corner of the world, but here in all 11 counties. That's awesome.
I like Will's competitiveness though. He called me and had all these questions for me. How many this? How much that? I'm like, hang on. So this is how many individual gifts we've had in one fund. He goes, okay, we're gonna beat that. Okay, go for it. So, and he was sending emails in the middle of the street during Ag Fair.
Yeah.
Speaking, I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just going to piggyback on the scholarship idea. I was just able to present the Win Wintergrund Scholarship to a student at Kahoma Community College, and it was in a long awards day program, and it was by far the largest scholarship presented, and the powers that be and the audience seemed very, very appreciative of the Community Foundation's role in that scholarship.
Well, you'll notice that Putnam County got a grant, and it was received by the Reclaim Project, which is just has been such an amazing thing in our county. They built from an old building that used to be the pharmacy there, a place where after-school projects there's an after-school program for about maybe 50 or 60 children, and they have people tutoring them after school, and they have just constantly redone the building with funds, and then upstairs houses 6 teachers. They tried to recruit teachers, some from Mississippi College, just all over really. They used to have a lot of TFA people that came, but that has stopped. We have connected them with a donor who used to live in Clinton County, whose father was the mayor of Lambert, and he called and wanted to know what he could do. He said he was at the stage of his life that he wanted to give back, and I told him about them. And he has given a van so that they can take kids home after their program in the afternoon and pick people up. And he found the used equipment for the kitchen that they've just remodeled. So it's really been a great thing. And that Kendall Myrick. Kendall Wilkie from Hernando is the person who's in charge of it, and she's just done a great job, so we appreciate the help.
You did a good job of matching someone who cares
Oh.
with a cause that matters,
Yes,
right?
I was so excited, and they just hit it off right away.
Yeah, that's great. That's great when it works.
And
Anybody else?
and it doesn't end, you know?
Yeah. No, it's usually just a start of what they can do. Robin, any others?
YMCA or
Save music.
Save the Music or Emmett Till or Heartland Hands or Maddox Volunteer Center or keep going.
We're pretty excited about the Emmett Till Interpretive Center. That was a small, tiny nonprofit that Tom Pittman helped them establish their 501c3, and we've been working with them and donating to them for the last couple of years, and right now they're having an exhibit that's touring. It was originally planned to tour the path that Emmett Till's body took, but there's a lot of interest in expanding that, and I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with someone from Department of the Interior about the possibility of creating a national park in Mississippi, in the Delta, in memory of Emmett Till and in honor of his mother, Mamie Till Mobley. And that would be a real game changer, because with that, if you are successful in getting the national park designation, that includes federal money for, you know, roads, sewer, things that would really be meaningful in that area. So
It's not a quick process.
it is not a quick process. No, it's something that it wasn't even on the table until the exhibit started touring, and now we know that it's something that the president's interested in. And as the lady from the Department of Interior told me, at the beginning there were about 150 things on the list that you have to do to become a national park, and the Mississippi location is down to about 5 of those. And they're also talking about including Chicago as part of that as well. They are not quite as far along in the process. So anyway, that's pretty exciting. It can be a real, over time, that can have a greater impact even than the community foundation on the Delta.
Is there any update on the why?
The update on the why is that they are still raising money for that, and Billy may have a better update about the land. I don't know what the situation is with the land that had been donated, if it was approved or not.
It was approved.
Okay, so
The planning commission turned it down, and then the board of aldermen overturned the planning commission's recommendation and granted the permit. So 10 acres is available for the Y if we could raise the money to build it.
Where's the location?
Some Mackinville, any idea where the new high school is going in? It's across the street from the new high school. So it's on the west side of Mackinville, south of Pleasant Hill Road, north of the interstate. And it goes, that property goes all the way over to I-55. There's a big creek along there, and that's part of the greenway. And this, as you enter the property, the Y will be the first thing on the left, and it connects to the greenway. So there are a lot of potential uses there, from, you know, the swim gym, plus all the programming, plus bike trail, cross country for the high school cross country people, horses, everything that the greenway brings will be connected to the Y there. We're just a few
That's
millions,
exciting.
few million short.
just making sure. We've committed $7.5 million, of which we've already paid 2.9. So $2 million went into our advised fund with the community foundation, and with the $900,000, we matched money that the YMCA invested in the Early Learning Center. There was one that closed in Hernando last year, left about 25 folks out of a job, and negatively impacted 125 families that got about less than 5 days notice that their daycare was closing. And so that's scheduled to open. It's being renovated, and it's scheduled to open again this fall. So
You know, the Y does a lot of other stuff too. They're feeding kids, and they're bringing food to Hernando every Saturday now. It was at the hockey rink. They're actually taking it into the community now, I think. So every Saturday in the summertime, they're feeding kids that would normally, wouldn't have that access. They're doing that, but from a political standpoint, I think we need to hammer on the aldermen of the city of Hernando. They ought to take the lead here, I think. I mean, what the Y provides and what it will bring to the city of Hernando from an economic standpoint is well worth the investment. They just gotta see it that way. Somebody's gotta explain to them that it's an investment in the future of the quality of life in Hernando, from top to bottom. I mean, the economic impact of the YMCA is tremendous. We've got the numbers. We've seen it. But somebody's gotta invest on the front end to make that happen. So I think the city of Hernando ought to take the lead, but they haven't yet. Hoping they will.
as a not positive update in the city of Hernando, I don't know who all's familiar with Conga Park, or if you've been down to see what happened at the playground, but a number of people in this room helped in the 2000 hillbilly, Tom, and your dad, your mom's there. Yeah, you were very small.
Barnett was
You were
there.
Yes. Two
Held the
huge
nails.
trees fell on that playground, and so right now the playground is closed. And yes, the Maddox Foundation had invested about $480,000 between the build in 2000 and the rebuild that happened in 2019. In 2013, the average cost for one of those playgrounds of that type was over $600,000. And so we're working with the city right now and their insurance company to repair, rebuild the playground because it was devastated.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great asset to see.
Well, the trees were, this big around,
But
and there were
not to
multiple.
shade, then you have to take that into consideration on the playground too.
The times that I've been out there, I think that, I wanted to replant a couple of trees in, in the general area, not in the same place, because the root rot is what killed those trees. They, were just very, very old, but, anything you plant is gonna take forever to grow the size of those, where those were massive trees. But the playground is still very shady because of the design of it, so there's a lot of shade there to create that playground.
Great, guys, anyone else?
Well, Keith tells me I need to say something, so I will. In following up on what John Rogers was talking about, the Kellogg Foundation has funded a program for us to do workforce development in Sunflower County, and that's proceeding well. That grant from Kellogg runs out September 1, but we're in negotiations with their program officer, so we're pretty confident it'll be renewed for another 2 years after that. And we're also talking to Kellogg Foundation about the other grant we have, which is for infant and infant mortality, infant health, which we're working a lot with in Clarksdale and Sunflower County with the community health centers to establish community health workers. So they're kind of low-paid people, but are trained to go out to visit with mothers and families, and it's kind of a low-cost alternative because you can't afford for doctors to take time to do that, but you can train community health workers to do it. So we're establishing kind of a model program for Mississippi with the Kellogg funding, and what that means to you from an operating standpoint is that brings about $75,000 a year for the operating budget of the community foundation. If we get those two grants, looks like both of them will be renewed for another 18 months to 2 years.
Anyone else? I think that concludes the
All right,
presentation.
thank you.
That was worth the pause. And we didn't,
Pause that refreshes.
yes, yes.